What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Happy Palm Sunday to everybody that's celebrating today. So I hope everybody's having a good one of those. Yeah, how are you doing today, SW?
I'm doing good. Got 2 rounds of golf in this weekend already. Today was the chill day, so no
Nice.
complaints on my end.
Nice. In the spirit of the Masters. I love it, man.
Yep.
Love to see it. Um, yeah, I've been watching a little bit of the Masters. Like it's one of those sporting events that has only become like relevant to me, or I've only really started to appreciate it kind of the last couple years. And it's like coinciding with when I got married, so I'm kind of like entering my mature era, I feel
Growing
like.
up.
So yeah, man. So it's
Yeah,
really
that's how
cool.
I feel
I love
about
the
like golf stuff.
pageantry and I love the traditions behind the Masters too. Like it's
Oh yeah.
uh it's very elegant and I like how they've kept their product pure. Like I really like what they're doing in general, just like because I'm an NBA guy and you compare like the Masters to like the NBA finals
Well, it's
and it's like
funny
not
you
even
say that
close.
though, because a lot of the golf purists, and again, I've only been playing golf for like 2, 3 years, and I've really only been watching golf maybe a year.
Hmm.
And a lot of the purists and a really good mutual of mine, Coastal Country Club.
Oh yeah, I
I
know his
think that's
account.
his.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's a big golfer, and he talks about how golf actually is. He calls it the barstoolification of golf.
I've seen that. Is that like the hats with the upside down letters on it that
Yeah,
people are wearing now and stuff?
it's it's one of those things where it's a lot of people started golfing during COVID, so
Oh,
a
okay.
big problem with golf, and it's not along the lines of like basketball or something like that,
Yeah,
but
it's
the
different.
sport a lot of people have complained about is attracting more drunken rowdiness and
Oh,
kind of
okay.
more, and that's not just it I do notice it, but it's just one of those things where I wouldn't necessarily say it's a like it sucks in a way, like I guess if you've played your whole life, like me kind of joining late, I don't really think too much of it other than like mild annoyance, but I can see like if somebody who's grown up in golf their whole life
Yeah.
now kind of, but either way, I still say golf's fun. I think a big opinion of mine is every dude should at least buy a set of used clubs at some point in their late 20s and give it a try.
Okay. Okay. I'm in my early 30s, so I might be a little past it, but it's never too late. But it
Hey,
sounds like,
there's a great used club company based out of Dallas called Golf Roots.
oh, okay. I didn't know that actually. Okay. Noted, man. Yeah, it sounds like by what you're saying, the Barstool Bros have found they found the golf course, it sounds like. So that's funny.
It's just one of those excuse to drink things. Like I was at a course last summer, and they actually scanned your driver's license to get a cart because this was like out towards Madison, where the University of Wisconsin is,
Oh, okay.
and apparently cart crashing carts and people sneaking bottles of booze on the court was such a big deal that they actually turned it into a strict thing.
Oh,
But that was
wow.
only one course. Otherwise it's chill and it's always a good time. Frustrating
Interesting.
but good.
Okay. Good to know. I'll keep that in mind about what'd you say it was called? Golf
Golf
Roots?
Roots. I don't
Okay.
know if they have a brick and mortar store, but they have a lot of really good. The whole thing a lot of people don't realize is like used clubs are not like something really to look down on, and it's a great way to get started in golf with like a lower investment. And then if it like well, that's what I did. I started out with used clubs. I started playing more and more and more, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy the brand new set of Callaways.
Interesting. Okay. Good to know, man. Sweet. Cool. Well, I think we got a good little intro out of the way. As far as the topic for today, if you can't tell by the thumbnail, this is going to be a pretty education heavy centric show. So I think we're going to do an update on the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf situation really quick. Um, see where that goes and take a look at some other content. And as the thumbnail says, you know, there's kind of a recurring pattern here of what's going on in the schools, and I think we'll be able to piece that together pretty quickly. So let's take a look at what we got so far. Whoops. Wait for that to go away. So yeah, so to start off, I guess, yes. Yeah, so to start off, we'll start this video over in a sec, but um I know last week a lot of people were getting upset at this guy. So this is the district attorney of Frisco or of Collin County, I guess, where the county in which
Just what's
Frisco's
interesting is
in.
when I originally saw that post, it's a very misleading headline because I remember you sent it to me. Then I watched the video and I was kind of like, wait a minute, like he never clearly said anything
Yeah,
in
it
it other
seemed,
than the basic, this is how the court system works and this is how prosecution works.
yeah, the way it was painted originally was like, oh, and I forgot who it was. Damn it. It may have even been Pearl Davis now that I think about it.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But I think it was Pearl. I think she quote tweeted this and said something like, Carmelo's going to get away with it. Pack your bags. They're going to get away with it again. And that kind of led people to think that he was saying, and we're going to watch it, but it led people to think that the district attorney was saying, oh, we're not going to press charges on Carmelo or something. When
Or it
in
made it seem
reality,
like he said we're gonna go light on him.
It's not unusual.
sorry. Yeah, it made it seem like he's going to go light on him. So this is the clip that everybody was reacting to, acting like they were like going to drop the charges or go easy on him. So here that is.
It's not unusual in the aftermath of a crime for there to be a lot of publicity about it. Ultimately, that'll be a judge's decision to make at the time of trial. But yes, I want it here. This happened in Collin County. I want Collin County citizens to be able to decide this.
It's not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
Their personal address has been exposed. They have received graphic and racist threats.
That would not be something that we could do even if we wanted to. It's not unusual in the aftermath of a crime for there to.
So yeah, it was that last line right there
That last
that
line is what people kind of
exactly. So
go a little
everybody
crazy
heard him
over.
say they just heard him say we can't do that anyway, and they said, "Oh, it's woke. He's woke. He's going to let off the black kid." One, again, it's interesting because this is like down the street from me, or I actually live in this county actually, but I don't live in Frisco, but I live in the county. Collin County is notoriously tough on crime. If somebody gets convicted of a crime, like lawyers will go out of their way to try to get the crime taken up by a judge in Dallas County as opposed to Collin County. So when I saw that people were saying that this guy is like woke, or I don't even like that term, it's a little overused now, but
Yeah, because it just
yeah, I don't
I don't
even want
know
to.
the conning
Yeah,
crowd has
yeah,
kind of ruined that term.
they've like ruined it. But to act like this guy was out here acting like he was a DA of Baltimore or something and was just like letting criminals off, I kind of felt like something was up with that. So he clarified a little bit the next day. We don't have to read this whole thing, but I do appreciate what his response was, though. It's very succinct and it
It's
lays
very
out like what
procedural.
the yeah, exactly. So he's just saying there's been confusion and misinformation this week surrounding the arrest of Carmelo Anthony and my remarks about the case. Here are the facts. Carmelo has been charged with first-degree murder by the Frisco Police Department. That charge carries a possible sentence of 5 to 99 years or life in prison with parole eligibility only after serving either 30 calendar years or half the sentence, whichever is less, which in this case, it seems like it would be the 30 years. So, yeah, the 30 years would be less than half of the 90. So, yeah. So he's probably looking at 30 years in jail straight and then being at least parole eligible. A jury or judge will decide the punishment if there's a conviction. Um, Clarifying the law, first degree murder covers most intentional killings. Capital murder doesn't apply here, I don't think. He said such a killing. He didn't kill a police officer. He didn't kill more than one person. Um, and then where was it? Only capital, this is important. There's really two important parts in this. Only capital murder carries the death penalty or life without parole, but even then, not for a 17-year-old under binding U.S. Supreme Court precedent. So, I mean, his hands are kind of tied here. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things where it's that knee-jerk outrage where people want a resolution and they want it immediately, and unfortunately, you know, things happen. There's procedure. I mean, that's not to say the system's perfect, but there's just steps that need to be taken, and unfortunately, kind of that's the dopamine addicted world we live in right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean, I in a way it's kind of a white pill on its own. I
Big
can at
time.
least yeah, exactly. I can at least speak for some of the citizens um in this area. I've talked to them, I engage with the people in my community. People around here are pretty angered by this killing. I haven't come across anybody who's like Carmelo was just a kid and
Well, that's funny because it's kind of like what we were talking about last week, that it is the quote unquote terminally online people across the country
hmm
versus centralized in Frisco.
hmm Yeah, it's definitely the term. That's another one I don't love, but this is a very online story. Not even the story itself, but the reaction to it is very online. Between Black Twitter and even right-wing Twitter saying, "Oh, he's going to get let off." In reality, this guy is facing 30 years. Now, would I prefer death penalty or life in prison? Obviously, but that's not on the table, and that's what he says here. This is probably the most important part. He says, "Let me be clear. My office has a long track record of seeking the maximum sentence legally available in violent cases. Any sentence we seek is based on the facts and the law and what justice demands, but we won't engage in political theater or make promises that violate the Constitution." I mean, that's fair. He has to say all that, but
And I mean, that's kind of what, I mean, that's also kind of what you want to hear versus, in other municipalities across the country, you hear a little more different tune.
yeah, you hear a little bit more of like, we don't want to send another young black man uh,
Yep.
or we don't want to contribute to the school to prison pipeline or some like they
Or
work
they'd
in
say
these
something,
Obama DOJ talking points.
yeah, or they'd say something very kind of pithy, like, it's a sad situation. He was a kid. He made a mistake, but we're going to be fair type thing. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I really don't like that talking point at all. That that well, this is a horrible situation all the way around. And
Yep.
I feel for both families. And look,
God.
from a moral angle, from a even from a religious angle, I understand that. Like from even from a human angle, like I do get what you're saying, that it's tragic, but all that's there to do is to appease both sides and to make it's there to dilute the
It
situation.
makes light of the situation, in my
Yeah, yeah,
opinion.
exactly. It's the same thing as like when a terrorist attack happens in like Europe, and they're like, well, this is horrible for the Muslim and the German community. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's the same
Oh,
thing.
man.
So,
Well, the thing
uh,
that I find really interesting is, and I don't know, I can't properly credit the account who said it, but they said basically the video must be really bad if MSNBC hasn't played it already.
yeah, yeah. That I don't know who. Do you know who this guy is, by the way? Um, this guy, he's been doing
I
press
heard he's from
conferences.
some civil rights organization.
So is he speaking on behalf of Metcalf or is he speaking on behalf of Carmelo's family?
I don't know. It's
I don't
funny
really.
because like I think it's obvious who I think he is.
Yeah, sure. But then again,
It could
would
totally be the opposite
he
angle.
could be for Metcalf's family, and the fact that he's black is like a shield for him. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like it could go both ways because I don't want to look for it right now. I don't want to waste time looking for it. But at one point in the press conference, one of the reporters asks this guy, um, they said, "So you're saying that there's video of the incident?" And he confirms that. He says, "Yes, there is video of the incident." And like you just said, the fact that that hasn't been released says a lot, man. That's
It has
deafening
to be
silence.
bad.
It has to be horrible. It
And
has
it
to,
pretty much would
yeah.
probably confirm what we've all kind of just off the hip predicted.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, it's going to be exactly what we think. I mean, I, I feel pretty good about this prediction. If slash when the video comes out, I think it's going to be something like Austin and his brother walk up. They have some words. You see him maybe gesture, "Get out of here," or something. Maybe you even see
And
him
it's
toss
going to
his
be an
backpack.
immediate right to the chest.
Immediate right to the chest. You're not going to see, because what I've heard from a lot of like total libs, they have this fantasy in their brain that Carmelo got jumped. And that is just that's purely a lie from Black
And
Twitter.
like
There's
I
no
said
evidence
last
for
week,
that.
look at the mugshot. Is there a
Yeah,
single scratch on his face?
right, right. And in order, I, and you can go on the self-defense thing a little bit, but I mean, right, in order for it to be self-defense, you have to literally be in fear for your life, right?
Yeah, and I think, and again, I don't know Texas rules specifically, but I know for the most part that there's a big difference between something like this in a public space versus, if somebody walked in your house. Like you would get
Yeah.
more wiggle room if somebody walks in your house unannounced
Hmm.
because the logic is they shouldn't have been there and it's justifiable to immediately assume they had nefarious intentions.
Right.
But the thing is, when you're in a public space, and this is something they talk about in conceal and carry classes, you have a duty to flee. Like you can't just immediately go from 0 to 100. You
Hmm.
have to take the steps and be like, I'm removing myself from the situation. I'm leaving. Now, if
Hmm.
somebody follows you, of course, that's self-defense. If somebody attacks you first, that's self-defense. What, and I think we touched on this last week, and it was very clear that I think a lot of the people who are arguing self-defense are just idiots who don't truly understand what the legal definition of it means. They think they're conflating somebody being an asshole to you, or, excuse my language, but they're conflating somebody being mean with a threat of violence, and the
Right.
two are not the same. Like
Right.
I mentioned before, like this story from Friday. So I'm driving on a back street, and it's a four-way intersection. I see this Subaru just flying down the street. So I get to the stop sign first, and granted, maybe I could have kept my foot on the brake another half second, but they didn't even touch their brakes. And
Been
then I
there.
go through the intersection, and then he kind of looks at me like like kind of looks at me like what the heck. And
Yeah, yeah,
then
one of those. Yeah.
so then I roll my window down, and I'm just like I point at the stop sign, like, did you not see that stop sign? And he's like, I don't know, man. It seems like you ran the stop sign. And it was just like one of those like stupid arguments. Neither of us got out of the car. It didn't
Right.
escalate.
But
But like
the idea that one of you pulling a gun and just like
exactly.
emptying your clip in his chest
Like
because
yeah,
there was an
he was an
altercation.
asshole to me and I was an asshole to him,
Right.
but that's not violent. Like
Yeah.
if I it's one like I mean obviously if he got out of his car and I didn't, then it's self-defense on my part because he's obviously escalating the situation, or vice versa. Say I
Right.
took a golf club out of my bag and walked towards his car.
Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
completely in the wrong. Like you, somebody being an ass, or sorry, somebody being rude to you
Right.
isn't
Is not.
grounds for violence.
And
It's not. It's not the same, and
it,
that's where I think so many of the people who are saying, and the common word I hear is he was antagonized. It's like,
mhm.
okay, but that's not violence.
Well,
It's
and
not
what's
an
funny,
immediate threat on his life.
and I'm gonna give a qualifier here, not that we need to do this, but I'm not saying that this is a uniquely black problem, but it kind of is actually, and we'll get into it. But there's something with the black community, and there's a piece of content I want to look at really quick that highlights this, but um, there's something with the black community where they think that like if you get offended, that's that's just grounds for killing. Even, and we can even take
Or
that
not
to the
even that,
extreme.
just violence in
Yeah,
general.
just violence in general. And let's take that to the extreme with something like words. I think probably something like 80% of black people, maybe a little lower, maybe 75, think that if somebody is called the N-word, a hard R, that is then you are legally allowed to murder them.
It's crazy.
I think they think that actually.
Oh, they 100% do
I think
because
that's I think that that's a real thing in their mind.
no, it 100% is well, and mainly because it's almost like childish in a way where it's like oh, I sorry I messed up, but I couldn't really help myself.
Right, right.
Kind of like
It's that
really
it's
sissy cop out.
it's that permanent infantilization. And yeah, here I'll show this really quick, and then we can jump on to the next video. But there was a tweet. I responded to somebody's tweet. Can you see my screen?
I
You?
can.
You can. Okay, cool. Um, I responded to somebody's tweet who was at End Wokeness. Yeah, okay. So this was a while ago when the Carmelo story first happened, but say his name, Austin Metcalf, blah blah blah. This story happened about a week after I was reading a little bit of I was reading some Hegel actually, and it was his book called Imperialism, Race, and History. And in it, I highlighted some passages from it thinking at the time when I was highlighting it, I'm going to highlight this for the next time that there is some low impulse control black killing that happens, and I will use this passage to highlight what he's saying here. And literally a week later, the Carmelo situation happened, so I got to pull it out a week later. Um, so sorry, completely agree with Hegel here. Hegel was right about the Africans. This is from 1831, and it could have been written yesterday. So these are his writings on what he found from historians in Africa um, once the Germans, the French, the Dutch, imperialism had reached the inner part of Africa. He said that this is about the Africans. He said, their moral sentiments are extremely weak, or to be precise, altogether deficient. Later on, he says, the distinguishing feature of the Negro's contempt for humanity is not so much their contempt for death as their lack of respect for life. They set as little value on life as they do as little value on life as they do on human beings as such. Their contempt for life does not mean that they are weary of it. On the contrary, life in general has no value for them. Negroes often kill themselves if their honor is violated or if they have been punished by the king. If someone is in this position, fails to do so, he is regarded as a coward. They give no thought to the preservation of life or to death itself. Now, I know that comes off a certain way, but I think what he's getting at there is like this honor culture thing where you get stories like this, especially out of the South, like around Alabama, Mississippi. You have somebody who their Jordans get stepped on at a party, and then they come back with an automatic machine gun and just waste 15 people at the party. There's no, it's just like honor culture taken to the extreme over the most piddly stuff, man.
And I do agree with that, but I also think you can simplify it more on a psychological level
Mm,
where they don't understand equal reaction. Like
proportionality.
proportionality, yeah,
Yes,
thank you. That's kind of what I was thinking, the
100%.
word I was looking for. But yeah, so it's like you can't kill someone over stepping on your shoes. That's not equal, but in the mind of somebody who's not very smart, they're just they can't they don't understand what's equal and what's not. It's just the immediate I'm mad and this is how I'm going to solve it.
Yeah, I mean that's how you get those world star hip hop fight videos where it's a fight and then the person goes down and then they start stomping on the person's head and curb stomping them, and now they broke the person's neck and the person isn't moving and they're still hitting them on the head. It's like
and
there's
nobody steps in to do
nobody
anything.
step. Well, the only time somebody steps in is if it's a white guy and a black, or a
Yep.
white person and a black person fighting, and the white person has the edge and is winning. Then the black group will jump
Did you
in.
see?
It's
I think it was
horrible.
out of South Carolina, but there was a video like that, and it looked like kind of this. I don't know if he was a bum on the street or something, but it was white frat bro and his girlfriend, and then this kind of transient bum-looking guy was in both their faces. The white dude hits him once and just drops him, and walks away, and then immediately a black lady runs out, and it's just like, call the police! Oh my God!
Yeah, there's no like fair fighting. And it's like it'd be one thing, and this kind of can get back to what we were kind of talking about, but it's one thing if that's happened, and I don't even support, you know, the violence and like the low impulse control violence for adults, but it's in the schools, man. It's happening at a young age. Um, and I think that's why the Frisco example, the Carmelo Austin thing is like very interesting to me because this is an incredible school district. This is where people want to send their kids. But all it takes is a few low impulse control people to think that some minor dispute warrants a knife being lodged into your heart. And now you don't have safe schools. Now you need to have metal detectors because I'm sure that that's going to be one of the things. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
you
It's
know
one
what
of
I
those
mean?
things where
Like
it's not like it's just going to be one of those one-off crazy things
no,
where they're like, oh, it's shit happens, but things
right.
happen, but we kind of move on with
And
our lives. Like,
and you
there's
know that
going to be a reaction.
they're not going to draw like a racial conclusion. I mean, we're drawing a racial conclusion from this, and Twitter is drawing, even Black Twitter is drawing racial conclusions from this. But the school district isn't going to say no more busing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're gonna say, "Oh, cool, we just need metal detectors now." That's
Now
how you get,
everybody has to wear clear backpacks.
yeah.
Everybody has to check their bags when they come in.
Now
No
the school
carrying backpacks to class.
now the school district is spending an extra 20% on increased security. Now my taxes go up. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
there's the unseen that I think that's what frustrates me the most is that there's the unseen part of it that people just they don't have any relation to it, you know?
Which this is funny because this ties into what we're going to talk about next after we finish up on this with that's middle school out of Columbus where
Yeah.
a good school like in Frisco they're going to do all these crazy security measures and probably make students wear clear backpacks and go to the max, but meanwhile schools where this is actually probably a common problem you'll see in the video where they the institution decides to sweep things under the rug, which ultimately doesn't solve the problem, but almost enables it worse.
Yeah. Let's jump. Oh, excuse me. My bad. Let's jump into the Tim Pool one really quick. That should be that's good. That gets into the self-defense thing. And then if you want to do the intro for the Columbus one, just to kind of break down what we're going to look at. But let's just
Sounds
jump into
good to me.
we'll jump into the Tim Pool one really quick.
It's funny, so I actually haven't watched this clip yet,
Oh,
so I'm
nice.
watching this fresh.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So we got Tim Pool here
Good old Beanie Boy.
with the stupid beanie. Dude, if you're gonna be receding, just own it. Just own it, man. It's okay, dude. Oh, wait, but he can't. He's like 5'4". Like, that's the thing. You can't own it when you're that short. You at least have to be tall.
My
Um,
issue with him is like he's the classic case of somebody who's not a complete idiot,
right.
but thinks because they're an it's like the well I'll concede Shapiro's actually a smart guy in like the
Yeah, I
book
agree.
sense,
Hmm.
but like Poole's like not as smart as him, but I've the exact type I'm talking
I
about
know
where you see
exactly
them
what you mean.
all over in real life where they think if they're snippy and vocal and stand on business, quote unquote, that it comes across as smart, but they just come across as twice as annoying.
I'm trying to think of who that is, but I know exactly what you mean. It's okay. We
I
know the
meant in
type.
real life, like a kind of
Oh,
people
oh, oh,
you
I
come
thought you meant like a
across.
public. I got you though. I
No,
got you.
no, no. Like I've met people like him, and it's the same kind of hipster bandy type that thinks that probably that didn't do great in school, didn't finish college, but because they read Howard Zinn's book that they think they're a genius.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So let's see. And Tim Pool is not having a good week. This is a bad week for Tim Pool. He's shilling Israel. He's doing behind the scenes meetings that he's upset got leaked with Bibi Netanyahu and Dave Rubin. So he's really having a rough week, and I'm here for it. Love to see it. So here we go.
One where he says, what is it? Nothing matters but this. He was at a school event at the wrong team's tent with a knife. He clearly chose murder than to walk away, cut and dry here. Nope, wrong.
Yeah, and that's the facts.
No, but that's facts,
No,
though.
yeah.
I love that you and I were both like, no, but that's it, though. That's literally it. He could have walked away. He wasn't at a tent that was his. But
I'm really interesting to see how he's going to spin this.
And I love his little, like, he almost has like a visceral, like, reflexive reaction. He's like, no, that's not facts. Watch this.
A knife. He clearly chose murder than to walk away, cut and dry here. Nope, wrong.
No, wrong.
Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house and you are legally carrying a firearm. And then a fight breaks out and or like an altercation breaks out between you and some guy, and there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a 1-for-1 scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this one with similarities. You go to a party. No, yeah, let's say you go to a party. And some guy starts saying stuff like, yo, man, get out of here. And you're like, I can do what I want. I was invited to the party.
You're in the wrong.
Verbal altercation escalates. And then the dude.
Seems pretty clearly that this guy's in the wrong. But okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
I have another point, but let him go because he's quadruple wrong on this.
You're standing there and you pull your sweater back and you've got a gun. You put your hand up and say, don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step. Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move. So you draw your weapon and you use it. Okay. Make the argument. You have no right to defend yourself when you're being attacked by a guy.
Okay. I'll make the argument.
Go ahead and do so. I ain't going to do it. I don't know the circumstances. You can argue that you're in a place you're not supposed to be. You can argue it's that
you're not just in a place that you're not supposed to be. You're in someone else's house.
So two things.
Yeah. Go.
One being, if you're concealing carrying, well, you need a CCW for it to be underneath, unless it's a state that doesn't require a permit.
Right.
Like, so I don't have my CCW because I'm lazy and I don't want to take the 4-hour class. I will eventually, but
I'm actually in
I know a lot of people who have taken it and they've kind of told me the gist of what was learned. But so for me, when I have to go to a really, really bad neighborhood in summer, I end up open carrying.
Mm-hmm.
But if my shirt goes over it and a cop saw me,
mm-hmm.
I could technically be in a lot of trouble
because
that's concealed. So another thing with that is it's with drinking and driving you have the 0.08 threshold.
Mm-hmm.
You have a 0.00000 threshold for carrying.
There's zero. Yeah, no, you can't. Even if you're in a state that has like legal marijuana or something, you can't have a gun. You can't even have had a beer and have your gun at all.
Yep. It's like, I mean, that's the thing, like, and that's where Pool's like, just everything he's saying is just way wrong. And the other thing is, like I said, there is the duty to flee. If he says leave and you say make me, you're done. You're completely in the wrong and you're the aggressor.
What's the crux of his whole thing? Like, what's the initial premise that he's saying that because he was invited into the house, he can never be asked to leave? So his example is like a guy gets invited to a party, walks into the house, pisses everybody off, does something horrible and pisses everyone off. And then the host who owns the house says, you got to get out of here. And the guy says, no, I have a gun. You can't make me leave. So what? Does he get to live in your house now? Does he ever, does he get a room? Does he have squatter's rights in your house because you invited him to a party? Like, this is just so dumb. Like, this is what people who smoke weed think this is what potheads think is like a good point. Like,
I
dumb.
think he's just being a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian.
That's a lot of it too. That's
part
fair.
of me doesn't think he's like necessary, but he's saying it like he believes it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's trying to be like, what's that old thing that people talk about? I don't know how to say it, but like Cthulhu always swims left.
Oh,
That's him
okay.
basically. Like
Yeah.
he
I would
he does this thing where he kind of, for something like this, he wants to basically say, I'm not one of you guys. See, I'm
exactly.
still on the good side.
And I would take it a step further. I think there's something here with the pathology of people like Tim Pool because people like this, they're invariably very small people. Like they're not physically imposing, and that's not to say that everybody who's not 6'5" is a liberal cock or something, but it's like Tim Pool is a very uh short, bald man with a beanie who's a libertarian who grew up on Reddit and smoked a lot of pot. I think there is a pathology there, and I think whether he's conscious of this or not, I think people like that are deeply afraid in the recesses of their mind that if they say the wrong thing, they will get beat up. And there's a reason that people who tend to be larger in stature or more fit tend to be more conservative because they're actually not worried about that. And I'm not saying this is like, Tim Pool's looking at the camera saying, I better say the right thing or they're going to get me. But I think when
He's saying it from
somebody's
a
a
place of
libertarian,
vitriol,
yes, yes. And he's,
of angry history.
yes, exactly. And I think in the back of his mind, he thinks that if he can be on the right side of issues like this, then he can avoid getting beat up, basically. It's the same energy as the person who puts the BLM I love I we respect black lives in this house or something. It's like a way to say, "Hey guys, don't hurt me, right guys? I'm not one of them." I think that's
And
what
like
he's doing there.
I 100% agree with that, but like I said, I would even expand it further where I think he's coming from a place of anger of the guy who probably has been kicked out of the house party by somebody bigger. The guy who probably has been punked by the track star.
The guy,
So
yeah, you're
I
right.
think there's that element to
I
it.
think that's actually a good point. There's a reason why he used like the party example because you just know somewhere in his past it was like,
That he just dreamed he was carrying at the party he got kicked out of.
at some point in high school someone was like, "Who wait, who brought him?" And they're like, "Get out of here." Like he just wishes he had a gun he could pull on them, you know what I mean?
Very low impulse.
Yeah, yeah, I mean it's not
Well,
surprising
it's
he's
like I
taking
said, the
Carmelo's side.
situation I had on Friday. Like, of course, I would theoretically like to have swung a golf club at the guy's window because he was about to run a stop sign, but I know that's not a good reaction and completely unnecessary and overkill.
Yeah, and it's also like
Because
I
it's not
just
to deny that we all don't get mad, we all don't
totally.
wish we could smack somebody when we think they deserve it.
The other thing
But
is just like I have a busy life. I don't have time to be wrapped up in a court case because I
yes,
broke a window. I like that's not to say I wouldn't defend myself if my life were in danger, but like this is the thing with a lot of these black people that are getting into fights. There's no conception of the future. Like for me, I'm like, hey, I got to work next week.
well,
I have a
think
kid
about
on the way.
how many college football or basketball players you see, or fuck, you, or sorry, even NBA players who, or pro sports players who basically you would like, it's always like, why was that person doing X, Y, and Z when they have a job that makes them more than 99% of the country, a
Hmm.
comfortable life, and they basically do something stupid that throws away a multi-million dollar earning career.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's the inability to reflect on intangible things like the future, like
Yeah,
it's, you know,
it's just all about the immediate,
the immediate
this
rush.
second. I'm
Exactly.
angry this second, and this is how I'm going to solve it. And it's like, okay, well, that 1 second of anger now just cost you your life.
Right.
And
Right.
again, in regards to the case we're talking about, I still feel like he was nuts and was I think it was more premeditated that he was just like ready to go and it wasn't like, hey, move. Because that's what I think ultimately my prediction is that's what we're going to see in the video is basically before Austin even comes over, the knife's going to be out.
Okay. Okay. So you think there's going to be a little bit more premeditation with Carmelo,
I
and
think
it's
he's going to have it ready to go, and that's probably why I don't think it's going to be a 2 minute argument and a 2 minute long argument that feels like five. I think it's truly going to be like he was ready to go, and again, that's different than what we're talking about with like the impulse of it all, because
right.
I think there's going to be something where he's probably got he's probably a regular in the principal's office, and
Yeah, yeah, that's
there's
true.
more to it.
We talked about that last time. I think there's going to be a lot more that comes out at some point. Maybe not a whole flood of it, but we're going to find out that he wasn't uh, Dean's List future astronaut, basically.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I agree. I'm curious to see how that plays out, but we can already kind of see the writing on the wall here with that. So, are you good with the Tim Pool one? You want to jump into the next one?
Yeah, we can jump into the next one.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to add here? Or
No, that was just one of the dumbest analogies I've ever
yeah,
heard.
yeah, it's
And it goes on the point that we were talking about that everyone defending him truly has no idea what legally self-defense means. And to
or
expand just a slight bit before we move on,
sure,
that's where like the comparisons to the Rittenhouse thing were just completely asinine because
right.
all the things I talked about with duty to flee, were you being chased,
Rittenhouse
life-threatening
did all of
situation,
that.
that checked off every box.
Yeah, yeah. Fear for his life. They were trying to take his gun. I think even one of them had a gun, or
Two
they
of
were,
them did.
and they were swinging the skateboard at his head. Like, I mean,
Yep.
I'm not even like a big Kyle Rittenhouse guy. He's like
But the
whatever to me.
situation
But the
itself was
situation,
so cut and dry.
yeah, it was, yeah, yeah, and it's a lot of salty black people that they don't that their situation doesn't apply there, and it just doesn't, frankly.
Well, I
So
still think the funniest thing about that whole situation was not a single black person was involved.
of the I know. Well, it's because people like Tariq Nasheed just made the claim that Rittenhouse was like a white supremacist or something,
He
and the
loves
one
using that suspected label because I feel like somebody could really sue him.
I know
But
that's why he does. He's very clever. He's clever about how
yeah,
he does it.
that's what
It
I
is
said.
clever.
I don't know if I said it episode one or episode two. He's not a drooling idiot. He's
No,
not, I wouldn't call him smart. He's not a drooling idiot, but he's very sly.
he is sly. He does know what he's doing, and if you go back and watch Tariq Nasheed, I don't even know if this exists on the internet anymore, but Tariq Nasheed debated Jared Taylor like 5 years
Oh,
ago, and I mean Taylor wiped the floor with him because Taylor was coming at it from a very academic point of view.
well, yeah,
But
that's what we were talking. Was that last week? We were talking about how if you just take what Taylor says and look at it, it's all academic.
no, 100%.
He's not talking TND or any like
Right.
crazy things like that.
No, it's very academic. I met Taylor actually in Detroit when AFPAC happened. I got to talk to him for a couple minutes, and he's a great guy, man. I got nothing but positive things to say about him. So, big kudos to Jared Taylor. We're big supporters on this show, on the SW and JB show.
Very much.
Um, okay, so do
So
you want
now
to
this
do?
crazy video.
Okay, so I like this video, but you were the one who wanted to take a look at it. So do you want to set it up, and then we can start on whichever part you want. We can start on part one.
This really is one of the most insane videos I've ever seen. And so like so basically what this video is, and it's a middle school in Columbus, Ohio, and I assume it's not in a good neighborhood because not to profile based on what you see in the staff, but basically
I'll
some
do
kid
that.
made a bomb threat, and
Uh,
then this cop shows up. And it's very obvious when we play the video that this cop has been at this school
yeah,
many, many times and has reached his limit.
that's what I didn't realize at first. At first I was like, why is there like a tension here? But then you realize that he's been through this before with this school, and so is the department. So, okay, let's just start it and see where we get with here. So we got the cop walking in. Principal stops officers from investigating a bomb threat. All right, here we go.
And I'll
And
save any commentary till the end
okay, cool.
of
And
each one.
okay, cool. So what we'll do, or also what I want to say is that this lady is not the principal. This is the principal's secretary, right?
Yep, she's just the office lady.
She's just the office lady, and then the principal comes in. But yeah, antagonism right from the start. So here we go.
Oh, that's locked. You gotta wait till he comes and gets you, sir.
What?
You have to wait till he comes and gets you, sir.
I'm here on official police business.
I get that. I just radio for the safety security. You just have to wait for him to come
Security.
and help you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just saying that I'm just going by the rules that I've been instructed. This radio for him to come and get you.
Has your union, teachers union, and the lawyers spoke with you?
I'm not.
Have they spoke with you?
No.
We're here on official police business.
I get that, but safety security is on their way to come and get you.
Okay, we have authority over safety and security. Do you understand that?
Well,
We're Columbus
I
Police.
have authority over my principal. You not over my principal to me. So she tells me, God, for you guys to wait. You're not the first one to go through this. And I'm not trying to be combative, but he told me to let you know.
Not the first one to go through this.
I heard that was when I got an inkling. That's when I started to get mad at this video. When she pulls out the DMV lady tone. You ain't the first one to go through this, sir. This guy is a
it's
cop.
literally like he's like, and it's a bomb threat.
It's a bomb threat. Like
that in normal places, the school gets shut down.
Right.
Or
it's evacuated.
Basically it's treated seriously.
Right. There's one really funny part. I think it's in part 2 of this video, but he has the perfect response to that. We'll keep going, but I love that. You ain't the first one to go through this, sir. What? Okay.
You would think they'd care about safety.
I know. But we'll get into what, yeah. They don't.
Yeah.
But he told me to let you know. Let him know when you got here. He's going to let you know. And I just read on him. He's coming to get you. Okay?
Okay, well...
I'm just telling you what I go through.
Okay, but did the union and the lawyers speak with... Did they speak with you?
No.
They have not?
And I'm not in the teachers union, so no, they wouldn't speak with me.
Okay, well, when we're here on official police business, we are over safety and security.
I will talk to legal about that in just a second. I will email them and ask them.
I will call. This is ridiculous. We are here in official capacity.
But you're not the only one. So I'm just going by what I know that I've been told by my principal.
So if a teacher's being beat up, I have to ask you to let me through the door.
That's the part I like. That's a good analogy. He says, so if a teacher is getting beat up, you're telling me I would have to wait here and then wait for school security to come? That's obviously nonsensical. Clearly, the security group or whatever, the school safety officer, is under the umbrella of the Columbus Police Department.
Obviously. What's most likely the case is, remember after Floyd, there was the big pushback that we need to get school police out of schools.
Yes. That actually started during the Obama years, but yeah, you're right.
True, but it's one of those things where this is what's crazy is she's just like rolling her eyes like, screw you, like you're ruining my day. Like,
right.
And the reality is it's just a pure contempt for him. Like there could be a stabbing going on in the hallways and she's like, no, you gotta wait here.
And she's not even really the best part. The doozy's coming up in a second.
The principal was so much worse.
She's way worse. She's actually way worse.
What's crazy is like, that the office lady's evil, because it would be one thing if she was like, yeah, these are the rules. I know they're dumb. But it's almost like she's defending the rules.
Yeah, that's a really good
she's
point.
loving yelling at these cops.
That's a very good point.
Saying they have to sit there and wait.
Yeah. Because the thing is that they feel like this is the cops getting their just desserts. The cops are getting their payback for all the inconveniences that they've been put through, when that's not really true at all. Any inconvenience that she can think of that she or anyone she knows has been put through by cops is largely because of something they did. There's
that aspect. Plus, it's just pure drunk with power.
Right.
I think I said they're running this school like you would see a crooked prison run in a movie.
Yeah, it reminds me of I'm trying to think. It's not
Like
Shawshank
Shawshank.
Redemption. Yeah, is it Shaw? Yeah, exactly. It's like Shawshank. There's like some seedy thing going on that they don't want investigated. That's what this seems like.
And I'll get to what my theory on the whole thing is. And oddly enough, I had a I do have a mutual who is a public school teacher in California, and he didn't elaborate too much on it, but he basically 100% agreed with what my theory on the whole thing is, which I'll get
Mm.
to towards the end.
Okay, cool. Let's see what this rocket scientist is about to tell me.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I need Mr. Howell in my office ASAP, please.
So if a teacher's getting beat up, I have to go through you to get to that teacher.
She's not
That's
even
what you're saying.
It's really crazy.
she's not even thinking. She's just he's giving her a real question. What if X happened? She's not even thinking. She's just like, mm-hmm.
It's the
She's
power thing. It's she's not even just like oblivious kind of autopilot. She is thoroughly enjoying
actively.
the power that she holds. And
Hmm.
basically, that's why it's like she's not just an employee who's following orders.
Right.
She's enjoying this. And that's the thing is you would think you would want to have a good relationship with the cops who are willing to come to the school and
Right.
settle serious matters. But she's basically telling them they're not welcome and that it's their school, that
Exactly.
their school is on their sovereign citizens, and everything that happens on this plot of land is
Hmm.
above the
And
police.
that's the energy you get from the principal here in a sec. We're gonna
It's
jump to
even
part two.
worse.
Yeah, it's brutal.
At this point in the video, I think it's important to point
I
out
think we can
that
just go to
the
part
way
two
the
because then
school
this
is
guy
treating these
just does
police
the
officers.
Okay.
generic body cam thing explanation.
Okay, so now we have part
Tactic.
two.
Now you are here. I know, Mr. Howell. Come on back over
Oh
here,
my
please.
gosh,
I know, I know.
when
Stupid
I
hat,
I you
the Al
already
Capone hat.
when you see this hat, you know that you are about to get lectured by Shaniqua, man.
I made a joke that if this would be Abbott Elementary if this show was actually based on anything real.
I've never watched that. I've heard that's kind of
I've
funny
never
though.
either, but like it's just one. It's one of those shows that yeah, I get it's a show, it's fake, but it's almost like offensive to be like the urban Philly school where it's like the kids get into minor little hijinks. It's like no,
Mm,
come on
okay.
now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's not exactly what's going on. But yeah, so we have the I don't even want to know how this woman got this job. Like it's not like the principals of these inner city schools are
My
like
guess would be my honest to God guess is associate's degree,
uh-huh in
then
like education or
then
something,
like associate's degree in education, then probably
public school
a
teacher.
state's well a state's probably a state school bachelor's and the same state school master's program, which who knows how much taxpayer dollars paid for this lady's education.
Right, right. And it's not I think kind of what the thing is for me is it's like in my mind, I picture the principal of a school as kind of like this curmudgeon. He's he may not be the hippest guy in the world, but he cares about the students and he's making sure they get to class on time. And maybe
Or you
he's not
get the
even the brightest
masculine,
guy.
the bigger masculine dude that like my elementary school teacher, he was, or not teacher, principal. So for up until third grade, we had this dude. He was a bigger dude with a mustache, and you were scared of him. And that was the point. You
Hmm.
were supposed to be scared of him. And that's the job. Then they moved to feminist lesbian for
Well,
fourth and fifth
but
grade, and it was a disaster.
here's the thing though. It's not even that we've moved on from the masculine principle because that was gone even by the time I was in middle school. Um, by the time I was in middle school, it was becoming feminized, but it wasn't. black feminization. So we're at like the third iteration of it now, where you went from the scary male principal, curmudgeon mustache guy
to
to
maybe a girl who played
to
volley, to
to
like a
maybe the
tough chick
girl
who played volleyball in college,
to
and
and maybe she's like she has like that social worker look, and she's like the white girl with glasses, and she's
I've always seen
harsh.
it was like the harsh white girl who played soccer, basketball, or volleyball, and
Yeah,
it kind of was that. See, I wouldn't say different experience. So the last 2 years of elementary school, we had the crazy lady, and that's a whole different story for another time. But in middle school, it was the classic male principal
right,
who who I mean, I shouldn't say everyone feared. Like if you didn't do anything wrong, he was fine, but he wasn't going to let anything slide, and
right.
it keeps people in line. And then
Uh-huh.
oddly enough, my freshman year, the principal was ex National Guard and very strict and he was crazy. This is all a story for another time. But my sister's grade, she was 3 years older than me, and the high school before it was never hood, but it was rowdy before we got there in '07. And I've just heard so many stories. And but regardless, that was the thing. It was the male principal who kept things in line.
Yeah. And then you move to the feminized, the one you were saying, like the white girl
Like the
principal,
volleyball player,
the
soccer
volleyball
player
player.
who was tough and you kind of rolled your eyes, but
But
kind of
now
still
we're at,
respected.
but even she was competent somewhat.
Exactly.
She was still
Now we've moved
competent.
on to this.
She was feminized. She was feminine incarnate, very like HR tone. That's what I was
And
looking
but
for.
also had like the discipline from, and I always say sports because that really is the common theme with those types is
Uh-huh.
they played like D3 volleyball or soccer, and
Yeah.
they had discipline and kind of a little bit of fairness from that sports background. And now we just have what we're
But
watching in
like
this
what do
video,
you
complete
think this
insanity.
what is this woman even offering? Let's just start the video anyway. But
Nothing.
this woman offers nothing. She's not teaching the astronomy class. She's not a savant with calculus. She knows nothing and she's insufferable. So just
She has
it's
she has a diploma behind her desk, and
she
that's
has
it.
a diploma and a big hat. And she's sassy.
I know, Mr. Howell, come on back over
Come
here,
on in.
please.
What I'm going to do is get back a hold of with the teachers union. I'm going to get a hold of legal because it seems like they're some of the only people that have pull. If we have an emergency at the school, I should not have I should not have to explain to this woman why I'm here. I don't come here for party time. I come here on official police business. This is a game we've been playing for years. This is
There
a
we
game
go.
we no longer want
Yep.
to play with you. You should be welcoming us. You call that.
Yes.
If you don't want me here, and if you want me to beg you to get through that door, don't call me.
Right.
Well, I'm not really sure all that happened, but
It's all on recording on
I'm
video.
not sure all that happened,
I
and
just
she's the
came over because
principal.
I heard some noise going on. I heard my secretary having to argue or whatever was going on. What I do know is, and I want to make sure this is on camera too.
What I do know is, and I want to make sure this is on body camera too, you know who that sounds like? That sounds like black women who just got caught shoplifting at Target when they're trying to talk to the
And they're
cop
trying to play
and they go, well,
curbside lawyer.
and look, what I want to make sure that you get this on camera, You have the lean, you have her leaning on the thing, you got the hand on the hip.
Well, this goes back to what he was saying. Like they should want him there. They should be
They should want
happy he's responding.
cooperation.
And
Exactly.
it shouldn't be this. It should be, hey, Officer McGee,
Yeah.
thank you for coming. Here's what happened. We don't think it's a serious situation, but
But thank you for rushing
here's
up
the
here.
rules. Thanks for coming. I don't think, and even if she said it would be more, even though I disagree with it, there would be more honor in it if she basically just would maybe even argue and say like, not argue, but advocate and say, I know the kid who said this, he's an idiot. He was just spouting it. He was just spouting off. I don't think we should make a legal case out of this, but
Right.
I'll give him
A good talking to and
I'll
this
give him 2 days in school suspension or
sure.
something like that.
But she's
And then
not even
granted, yeah,
yeah.
she's fighting. She's acting like a defense attorney for this kid.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
we felt a lot of disrespect by some of the
Oh
members
my
of the
God.
Columbus Police Department,
It's always,
including yourself, sir. What just transpired here, I do not
I
know,
do
but
not
we
know.
definitely did call you
How
today.
did we disrespect you?
Oh, at one point in time, either one of your colleagues, and just even your demeanor right now, your demeanor is off. We did call you
Because I'm not
today.
into playing games.
I'm not into playing games either, sir.
You are
So
playing
I'm
games.
not either, but we are going to follow the district protocols and so forth and so on. Today you were called because a scholar made this
Scholar. I
A
like how she said
scholar.
the internet like
A
joking term.
scholar. As if she's like, it's almost like she's on right-wing
Wink,
Twitter.
wink.
And she's like, oh, the Anons are gonna love this if I call this bomb threat kid a scholar. It's like she's following us, man.
which he said he was just playing. Mr. Howe contacted you, and so now you are
See,
here.
that's what's
Miss
really
Nash
wild
is
is
doing
that
her job.
What's that?
the teacher said he was just playing. It's no
Oh.
big deal.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's no big deal. He was just playing.
There's one other part that she has here. And yeah, she's defending Miss Nash. Miss Nash is just doing her job. It's all confrontational.
I
And
don't know
what I
if
said
you
earlier,
or not,
this
I
is a
don't
school
know
that
what
needs to have a good
transpired.
relationship with the police department.
Right. Right. Because this isn't a good area. They need to have these people here. Yeah, exactly.
I did, and
If she knows we're coming here for a reason, I should not have to beg and plead.
No, don't argue. Don't argue. Mr. Howe asked me, he said, when CPD gets here, let me know. And as soon as I saw them on the camera, I called for him and said, your guests have arrived. Nobody
Your guests have arrived.
Your
That
guests
line got me.
said that it was immediate or whatever.
'Cause you know-
I would have been
You know that was said with like some
That was said with
Yes.
malice.
your
and
guests have
disrespect.
arrived. Exactly. She doesn't mean it like, oh, your friends are no, she's saying exactly.
Oh, the
It's-
engineers are here for the 3:30 meeting.
Exactly. Yeah, that is
It's
on
like
purpose.
the cops are not guests,
Yeah, they're the cops.
and
Exactly.
they're there because of something that most schools take seriously.
That threw me for a loop too. That's funny.
But that wasn't the case. The case was, when they get here, let me know. And that's what I did. But then I get combative because, oh, I need to go through, blah, blah, blah. That type of situation. Well, then the other caveat, too, that we've been told from our district
Oh God.
is that the police can't just go all over the building and
Here
do
we
whatever you want to do. That has been established, too. Now, if it was the active shooter, that's something totally different. But that's not what's going on right now. But there
Yeah, if
are
it's a serious
rules.
situation, I need you to die for me. Just do it.
Wait, what'd you say?
Oh yeah, she's like, yeah, if it's a serious situation where your
Yeah.
life's in danger, yeah,
If
I'll
I'm
just
in-
let you through.
If I'm in danger, come in as quickly as you want. And that was the part in this video where I was like, oh, I agree with you. They're hiding something. Because what she's saying there, you can't just come in the building and do what you want to do. What she's saying is she doesn't want kids to get in trouble with the police for anything. So what they
Well,
don't want. Sorry,
And
go
this is
for it.
this is kind of what I had said, and this is where the school teacher mutual agreed with me. I don't think they're hiding like a sweatshop in the basement or
No.
something ridiculous like that. What I think it is her job relies on things not being documented.
Hmm.
If every year there's a whole novel of all the issues that go on at her school, she will be fired. She will end up at a news or like she'll be known as a principal who doesn't have control of the school.
Right.
Now, if they handle everything in house and things don't get written down, things don't get recorded, she looks like a savior. Oh, look at Mrs. Whatever. There's no
Mhm.
incident. There's never any incidents at this school.
Hmm.
But that's the thing. What I think it is it's what I said on Twitter was it's 70% that. It's 70% self-serving. This is her domain, and she stays in power by creating the illusion of control.
Hmm.
The other 30%
Is ideological.
Is ideological that
Exactly.
she's
It's
saving these students from a
from
record where
the school to prison pipeline where people just fall into pipeline and they in prison now. It's like, nope, that's not how you end up in prison. You don't just walk down a wormhole. Nope.
because you have to wonder And this is why I think it's so crazy. You really have to wonder. Now, I think there might be something like sexual assaults that they're throwing under the rug, or maybe there's a lot of fights. Maybe
Or
there's
there's
some knives being pulled.
or there's a drug problem in the school that she doesn't want
Yeah.
uncovered. Like, I think it may be the drug thing because when you say you can't just be walking all around the school, what I think of are drug dogs. I think of
Well,
you can't just be having
true.
weapons and
But I
drug, you
also
know.
think maybe she gives the green light for some of these teachers to be a little hands-on with discipline.
Yeah, that's a good point
And
too.
I think it's one of those things where, like I said, she's running it like a prison in the sense of that's her domain, everyone's under her control, and anyone who from the outside has to jump through hoops. It's literally like just like textbook like a prison movie
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the evil warden runs the prison and the cops who are trying to uncover what's going on basically get stonewalled and not allowed in, and nobody's going to cooperate with them because out of fear that they have to deal with this lady 5 days a week.
hmm And
Maybe
it's
as much as she doesn't want things documented, you narc her out for allowing a teacher to maybe be a little hands-on.
yeah.
Maybe all of a sudden she's willing to do an expulsion or suspension or really ruin somebody's life.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um Yeah, here we can finish. Let's finish this part. We are running a little long, actually. The show went longer than I
I
thought it
kind of
would
had a
go.
feeling we would.
We're running a little long, but it's okay. It's actually a
Because
good.
we're kind of at the crux of this video.
Yeah, yeah. And I probably have a hard stop in about 10 minutes or so. So let's wrap this up and then yeah, man, let's check this out.
Assaulted.
So if a teacher's being assaulted, so there was a breakdown on that too, which Mr. Howell and I discussed as well. But the assault had already taken place. But nonetheless, the teachers called, so they were the ones who made the phone call, and then they had already given information over the phone as to the scholar. Now it gets back to
Scholar.
me that allegedly I stopped information or whatever.
Yes.
That's not true, sir. You and I only talked once. When I came
He
out
said,
of
I
my
will not
office
provide
door,
that student's information.
It's just
Look
so
at the breakdown of everything.
it's just
The
so
teachers
here's
are on a different. The teachers are the ones calling the cops. They're going above her
uh-huh.
because if they go to her, she's going to say no because she needs to keep her record clean
Right.
for her own, for her to keep her job. And this is what's absolutely insane is this is just a breakdown from top to bottom, and whoever that teacher is going to be looking over their shoulder.
hmm I think what bugs me about interactions like this, whether it's the shoplifter at Target who looks oddly like this woman or this woman, it's also tedious. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
also like, well, no, actually, I made the phone call and then the
it's
guy made
just
the call. It's
it's
like
hammering on the most tiny little semantics possible
it's all
just to sound smart
semantics.
and in control.
Exactly. That's why you have her saying, and a caveat to that is, ma'am, the cops are here to investigate a bomb threat. And you're talking about, well, now actually on the date last week, I said it's just like if I were this guy, I would move to Utah or
Well,
Idaho.
here's one of the craziest things. So I pulled up a local news story on this. I forgot to send it to you, but basically, so like you would think this video, somebody in the Ohio Department of Education would be like, yeah, we're opening up a probe into this school. This doesn't sound right. Instead, basically, the teachers union and state organization said, we're looking into this, but we're also demanding the police look into the unacceptable behavior of their officers.
Oh my gosh.
And then the cops, and the worst part is, I'll find this statement and send it to you when we're done, but it was basically just like both sides had to admit that they're looking into it, and neither side was wrong. Where you would think common sense would be literally, and that's the other thing, based Ohio,
Right.
like
Right.
where's DeWine? Is DeWine going to do anything about this? I know it's the city, but
Would
you would
Governor
think
would possible future Governor Vivek do anything about this? I don't think so.
no, and that's the other thing. It's just like you would think even the state would say, "Hey, we take everything seriously, so we're going to look into this." Even just for even just to save face for optics sake. But it was literally met with, and I don't have the statement in front of me, but it was literally like, we'll look into what our teacher said, but the police need to look into what their how their officers conducted themselves.
And that's always the case, isn't it? It's like it reminds me of when we were talking about the Carmelo case, when people say, "Well, both sides, it's tragic for both sides here."
Exactly.
It's the
There is
same
no both
thing.
sides.
There is no
Like
both sides. It's
this cop
tragic.
really cares.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
isn't to like be pro cop or anything
No,
or
no, no,
say I'm
no.
like cops are perfect,
It's pro
but
order.
this guy cares.
Right.
Like he doesn't have to. If he didn't, he could easily just be like, "The heck with this. I'm
Right.
done." Like, you don't want me here? All right, cool. But like, he legitimately seems to actively care about the state of this school, and he's gone out of his way to the teachers union.
Hmm.
Like, that's the thing. Like, he really does care,
Yeah.
and that should. I mean, he comes across very genuine.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what you want in a lot of cops, somebody who cares and is willing to fight the good fight.
Yeah.
And
100%.
meanwhile, the school just seems like a corrupt prison where they're just running interference, trying to cover their own butts, and so they keep their jobs, and their school looks like the best school in all of the Columbus public school system.
Yeah. And I mean to tie it back to the title of the video, it's like at every level, whether it's a student who isn't disciplined or is in a good school district and lacks self-control, and now everybody has to be under tyranny because he couldn't behave appropriately, or we go a level higher to people like Miss Nash in this video, who are just kind of
Where
the
everyone has to
underlings.
suffer because they don't
Everybody
want
suffers because we
the
won't allow order.
consequences.
There's no
Exactly.
consequences in order anymore
I think in
because
their
the
own
bar has
warped
been lowered.
minds, they think it's order.
It's like hood justice in a way. It's like hood order, not actual order.
Exactly. Or it's just like a stupid person, a stupid, power hungry narcissist
Right.
view of order.
Yes. Yeah.
That she's in control, so therefore it's order. But
Therefore, it's
in
order.
reality, it's like, in all honesty, it's like most blue cities.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing, but just on a smaller scale.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like when it's the same thing with like the that stupid mayor in Chicago, Eric or
Or
what's
yeah,
his
I
you
know
know
what
who
you're
I'm
talking
talking
about.
about. Brandon Johnson in Chicago. And he'll say like people ask him, "Do you think Chicago has a crime problem?" And he'll be like, "No, I think we have a beautiful city. I think this is just fine." And it's
Well,
like
he's
he's
the one
saying that
who
because what's
with
funny, his background is he's a public school teacher
that
before that.
see
It's
that's what
he
makes sense
total
because
public school teacher energy.
he's the one who when there was like the literal gangs of looting with U-Hauls
Hmm.
saying we need to basically both sidesing it and being
Right.
like we need to understand why these people are doing it because it's
Yeah.
interesting where I've like through social media accounts I know a lot of more who I would say centrist people. I shouldn't say, and I don't want to make it sound like I know them personally. Just accounts, bigger accounts who are based out of Chicago, who are more business centrist. Like I wouldn't necessarily say they're right or left, but they're very more just capitalistic centrist.
Hmm.
If they make fun of Mayor Johnson, they get threatening DMs calling them racist.
Yeah.
So it's just really dumb how, you know, it's almost like nothing will ever get solved because so many people are scared of just that label.
Right.
And that's I think with the state of Ohio. They don't want to look like
Gay
the
racists.
the state government overreaching and punishing the innocent little Abbott Elementary.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean you can't ignore the racial element to this. It just is what it is. Like, hence the title of the video. Um, yeah, man, I feel pretty good about this episode. Did you want to keep
Yeah.
going? I
No,
feel
I think we kind of covered everything now. If we go any further, I think we're going to just be talking in circles.
yeah, but I think that was yeah, I think we
Oh,
highlighted
it's funny.
the
You said
things.
like, oh, I think this is going to be a short one, and
No, you called it. You
I was
were
like, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be a short one.
Yeah, no, man, that's a good sign though. That's a sign we have a good chemistry is it goes longer than you think it will, and it goes longer
Like
than
I
I
was
felt
always
like it did.
joking. I feel like we could do a 3 hour one, but we don't
Oh,
want to punish our listeners by
yeah,
posting a 3 hour
absolutely.
one.
And if anybody's listening this far along, hope you listened the whole way. But we're going to add in some interviews at some point. We have a few people we're talking to that we'll probably add into the show. So just keep an eye on that. Um, follow SW on Twitter. It's at SnowMed34. Follow him on Twitter. I'll put his link in the bio or in the description. I'll put my link there also. Um, but yeah, keep an eye out for stuff we're going to be doing. Just going to keep going. I'm having a great time, man.
Yeah, and pretty much, I think our schedule we're aiming pretty much either end of most weeks.
Hmm.
Usually by Sunday night, we'll
Sun
usually have it up.
Usually by Sunday the latest we'll have it up, and sometimes we should probably shoot for Saturdays, but it'll mostly be Saturdays, I think. So
Cool.
I'm set, man. Hey, thanks for chatting with me, man, and I'll talk to you later, bro.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right, later.